She's an enchantress, destiny's tree. Fear and doubt, she sets them free. Inner light guides the way, every night and every day.
Hello and welcome back to another mini masterclass. First of all, I just want to say hello and thank you to all of my new subscribers. I'm glad that a lot of you received what you needed to hear in my last masterclass where I was talking about Pluto entering Aquarius. Now, this is a very, very potent time in our lives. And so I'm happy to hear that everything is resonating with you. Now, today's mini masterclass is coming from a question that I received. And I was talking about consciousness and how if you are here to be a curse breaker in your family lineage, you have this inner knowing. And this person had commented that she knows that she is here for something more, but she doesn't know how to do it. And she wanted me to explain my process. So that's what we're going to get in today. How do you know if you're a curse breaker in your family lineage? And what actions should you be taking in order to clear that karma? So before we get started, I just want to do some housekeeping and in what's going on in the cosmos. So as I'm recording this, we are experiencing the last quarter moon, which is always about cleaning house. But on the day that this episode will be published, the moon is in Libra. And so this is the time of the moon phase that it's in is in the waning energy. So in the waning energy, it is really when you go through introspection and you're in more of your divine feminine flow. So you might be feeling very creative at this time. You might be feeling like there is something that you want to work on, a project you want to work on. You might even be feeling like you're wanting to decorate for the holidays or just really cozying up in your home and just pouring into yourself. And the reason is that the moon is in Libra, and Libra is that Venusian energy. It's also about having a more balanced bond with your loved ones in your relationships. So you might be feeling that energy as we move forward with this mini masterclass. And I just wanted you to keep that in mind because, our subconscious mind is so intertwined with the phases of the moon. And that's why I always use the energetics of the moon as sort of my calendar and what I should be working on because it's tapping back into my emotional body. So, with that being said, let's just move forward with what this is all about, what I'm talking about here. I am going to be reading from my notes because I don't want to miss anything. But I want to begin with this inner knowing that you are here for something more. See, as a child in my book, I wrote in my book, She's Magic, Living an Enchanted Life. I write about how I always knew that history repeats itself, even at as young as the age of 11. And I've always followed my intuitive nudges. When spirit said to do something, I didn't question, I just did it. Okay. So you might be feeling that you have a strong bond with something unexplainable, and there are things that you know that you don't know why you know them. And it is this feeling that you are here for something more, for a higher version of yourself. Now, a lot of the times we get it confused with that it is this celebrity type energy, okay? And the reason why I feel like we get it confused with the celebrity type energy is because, one, we've been our consciousness has been hijacked through the television and movies and looking up to celebrity, which I have mentioned in my one video when I was talking about that we're the stars, that these are fake stars. So what happened in the process is we took our attention off of self and we started focusing on external um, beings, external energy of trying to mimic what we were being shown, right? Because that's how we learn. We learn through the process of watching and then mimicking it. And this hijacked why we were here. So, because of Pluto moving into Aquarius, we are moving into a time where we're starting to take back our sovereignty. And taking back your sovereignty is remembering that you are a star, not a fictional star. You are an actual star. Going back to the elements in the periodical chart and what the Milky Way is made up of and comparing it to us, we are actual stardust, okay? And we are consciousness observing itself. So, because of that, we forgot that we had a bigger mission in our lives and we started living our lives through validation and comparison and thinking that what was being shown to us is the right way, is how we're accepted in society, and we gave all our power away. But this energy that's coming in is about collecting back those energies, collecting back all of those, I like to say, antennas that we put out there trying to navigate in the world. We're bringing them back to us, right? We're calling our energy back to us. And because of that, people are awakening to this understanding that they're here for something more. So when it comes to um, your karmic challenges and what, you can call it a curse, but it is limitations that you believe are true about yourself that's been passed on through your family lineage. And it's been happening generations and generations for centuries. And you're the one, right? You were picked at this time to, as I'm recording this, it's 11:11. So that's confirmation that you are here because you're ready for a new beginning. And know that this video comes across your path because it's what you needed to hear at this time. So with that being said, you know that there's this energetic like ties to things that you can't explain. And the reason that we have those energetic ties is because epigenetics talks about how our limitations, our limiting beliefs, and our trauma can be passed down through generations through your DNA. Okay. So you will have these beliefs or this trauma that's not even yours, but you will be looking at your reality through the lens of that trauma, therefore building a reality that mimics what you are feeling inside. So I'm always talking about how it's the internal work. It is through the internal work that you remove and you break that loop. And that's where, when they call it a family curse, it is a loop that is continuous through your DNA that keeps being passed down from generation to generation. So let's just get into the whole metaphysics, quantum physics, and astrology, and how I came across, how I am on this path of breaking that lineage and what I experienced through this process. So you've been guided here because you know that you are the chosen one, and the chosen one is to break this this curse, okay? To rewrite your story or your lineage and to liberate your family tree from the chains of the past. That's what you're here to do. And I know that this is no small task. But let me tell you, if you felt the weight of your family's pain and your dreams couldn't be realized, then it's because you have the strength, the wisdom, and the sacred mission to transform it all. And you don't have to do it alone. Today, I'm here to show you how metaphysics, quantum physics, and astrology are your allies in this profound work. Now, I didn't know any of this stuff when I went on my journey, okay? But my guides, I learned how to surrender. So in the beginning of it all is you are going to go through a spiritual awakening, becoming more self-aware, or raising your level of awareness. All of them mean the same to me. So when you become self-aware, you start to understand that everything you are experiencing is because of your perspective. And so when I was on this journey, I was still in this victim mentality and blaming the external for my experience and the people around me. Unknowingly, I didn't know that that's what I was doing because like I've mentioned before, when you are living your reality, you are looking through a lens, like a filter, and that is from your trauma, your pain, this karmic lesson that you're bringing in, and this curse from your family lineage. And so, because of this, it taints your perspective. So when you are ready for this, like you're here for something more, but then you also have this moment of clarity that you are the one responsible for what you are experiencing. And so that's what happened to me. And it took me to learn this through my business as an interior designer. Because when you're working with a lot of energies, a lot of people, and you are the common denominator, and there's a lesson for you to learn in that, if you have become more self-aware, you realize that you are the actual player in this game, and that it's through your perspective, and it's through your emotions, and it's through your perception that you are experiencing that reality. So in my victim mentality, I was blaming my clients for how they were making me feel, and therefore giving my power away. And one of the things that I needed to learn was that I didn't have healthy boundaries. And so, if you're watching this and you're a visionary and you're ready to become an entrepreneur, know that whenever you create your business, it is an extension of who you are. And there will be lessons in that business to help you stretch. And it's not to deter you. It's not for you to walk away from your business in this entrepreneurial journey and going after what you love. It is so that you can evolve. And there are failures during evolutions, and there is an inner knowing that you become more acquainted with about yourself. So don't let it deter you from going after what you really want. But through that, I started seeing all of the players in my game, which happens to be my husband, my children, my clients. Every energy that I was interacting with were the players. They were the chess pieces in my game. But I was always the one who was in charge of this game, of my next move. And through that, I was seeing that things that I didn't like that triggered me were things that I was lacking in myself. For instance, my husband has awesome boundaries to the point where, because he's a Scorpio, Scorpios are very private, but to the point where they triggered me. But really, when I went through my level of awareness, I realized that his boundaries were teaching me that I did not have them. And if I didn't have that contrast, then I would go through my life still playing the victim. And so you have to have that contrast. So if there are players in your game right now that are triggering you, it is because there is a lesson that you need to learn. It is not because it's happening to you and it's to tear you apart and feel like you're not supported. It is to stretch you so that you will grow. So that was the beginning of me realizing that I had some internal work to do that brought me on my spiritual path. Now, when I talk about the surrender part, your spiritual team will come on board. And how will you know that your spiritual team has come on board? Well, they've always been there, okay? Your spiritual team has always been there. You just were not aware because you were still living your life externally. But when you start to become more self aware and you do the spiritual work, which is inner work, you reconnect with them. See, they've always been there guiding you, and through this energetic of spurts of energy where you feel inspired and you move out of your way, that's your spirit team, okay? And if you have been stuck, it's because you've closed yourself off from your spirit team. Just think of the word spirit and inspire. They're one in one. And so when you feel inspired, that is when you're connected to your spirit team. When you feel uninspired, it is because you are living too much in the material plane, in the physical world, and looking at life happening to you. And so I've always known that, but then I dove into the material, too much in the material. When I was growing my business, it was all about success, success, success. But then I had the inspiration because as an interior designer, you're feeling creatively inspired. That is spirit. That is you co-creating with the universe when you feel inspired. So I had that. But then there was still resistance around that. So that's what I needed to figure out. And so wherever you have triggers, wherever you're feeling like you're not breaking this glass ceiling, so to speak, that is to show you that there's some lessons in that container in order for you to up level. Because I look at this as a game. Life is us playing a game, and we go through evolutions and then we reach the next level. And so that is what I experienced, and I started doing the inner work. Now, the funny thing is, well, not so funny, but the minute that I started doing the inner work and realizing that I didn't have healthy boundaries, and I sat my children down and I apologized to them because I was teaching them not to have healthy boundaries. That was my first awareness that things that I didn't like what my kids were doing in their relationships was only a reflection of what I had taught them. So it's through our level of awareness that we begin to take responsibility for our actions, for what triggers us, and to move in this world from a different lens, a different perspective. It's like you've taken off this hazy lens of being the victim to now empowering yourself. And that is what this Aquarius age, or the age of Aquarius, is all about. And Pluto moving into Aquarius is to transform this energy. So when I came to that realization, and then I started doing the inner work, I was able to understand that I was the key player. And that's the beginning of your journey, because you've always had this inner knowing, but now you're ready to step in the arena and become the main player. And that was my level of, my aha moment, that it was time for me to start playing chess instead of playing checkers. And when I say that, it's like chess, you're more strategic. You know that you're in control of your game. and it's more critical thinking and thought provoking versus checkers being tit for tat, like you did this to me, so I'm doing that to you. It's like an eye for an eye. And that just creates more of the same. So that's how I started my journey. And because I built this relationship back with my spirit team, I started paying attention and surrendering. I started paying attention to the signs that where they were leading me. And when my business closed, um, after I had gone through this level of awareness, um, my business closed because my guides said it's time. So they knew that I was ready for the next journey because I had that level of awareness. So now I was playing a different game. And through that, it was time for me to do my own healing. Okay. So if you feel like you are the chosen one to be the curse breaker in your family, the only way that you're going to do it is through your own healing. And that's why I mentioned Chiron in your natal chart, because your Chiron is this belief that you have about yourself that you brought into this lifetime. And I happen to come from a lineage of women who had low self-worth, who didn't believe in themselves, who gave their power away. And so I have Chiron in my house of self-worth. So if you have Chiron in your second house, then this is going to resonate with you. And through that, I learned that I needed to empower myself. And that's where the triggers came in, and me realizing that I was coming from victim mentality and starting to stop seeking external validation and realize that I was in charge of the game. And if I didn't want to feel a certain way, then I needed to change my perspective in the relationship I had with myself and how I felt. So one was I didn't have healthy boundaries. Instead of pointing the finger and giving my power away and saying they're overstepping my boundaries, they did this to me, I said, oh, I'm allowing them to overstep my boundaries because I'm unclear and I haven't shown them where my boundaries are. So I started putting those boundaries into place. And yes, you're going to get pushback. Trust me, you will get pushback because you're becoming somebody that they're not used to. So you will get pushback, but then it's an eye opener for them as well. And you will begin to see that through you empowering yourself, the level of respect that you receive in the process, it's different because now people see you for who you are instead of being like this people pleaser in your life. So that was one of the things that I needed to clear up. Another thing is that when I realized all of this, in my book, I do write about like some instances that I experienced, like in the neighborhood that I live in, and when spirit guided me to do something that felt uncomfortable and I did it anyway. And all of that was showing me where I was out of alignment in my life. But then I was showed that you're your avatar, you're playing a game. And so you better know who your avatar is if you're going to be the main character in your movie. And that's why I talk about your starring role and that you are a star and that you are the celebrity in your life. And so you are the real star. Okay. I went on the tangent about celebrity, but let's get back to what it all means. And it means that you are the star and you're here to play your starring role. And that's why I did a video to help you understand your astrological profile. Because when you understand your astrological profile, you begin to understand who your avatar is. And that is the player that you're here to play. So when you understand that, and then you understand where you might, these limitations that you have, you're ready to start healing that curse. So I'm going to go over my notes of what I wrote so we can kind of give you some steps on how you pull this all together and what it all means. So part one is we're going to talk about the role of consciousness in generational healing. Okay. So let's just talk about metaphysics. So everything in the universe is energy, including the stories, traumas, and beliefs that we inherit. Generational curses are energetic patterns, repeating cycles, passed down through thoughts, behaviors, and even DNA. But here's the empowering truth. Energy is malleable. You can shift it. And that's what I did is I learned, like I said, that I had that aha that I am the main player in my game and I can shift my reality at any time. So by choosing awareness, you disrupt the cycles. And here's the match it. When you change the energy ripples backward and forward, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing your ancestors and creating a new legacy for those who come after you. And so I mentioned how when I leveled up my self-worth, it was like I got a reboot, and my daughter got really emotional at the same time, which she didn't know because she was starting her path with the inner work, my oldest daughter. And she had an up level. And it was through me changing my energetics, doing the healing, that it had this ripple effect. So it's very important that you do this work because you help your family lineage, including your children. Okay, so quantum physics tells us that the observer affects the observed. Your conscious intention is enough to collapse old patterns and create new realities. So when you set the intention to break these generational chains, you're already rewriting the code. And so that's the beauty of it, is that we have these blueprints and we're in charge of rewriting it. We can rewrite our code anytime we want to, the minute that we take responsibility for us being the active player and not being someone that's like an NPC, a non-playing character, right? You are ready to just get into it and take control and have intention of the life that you really want to live. Okay, so now let's talk about the astrological blueprint for curse breakers. Now, let's look at astrology. Your natal chart is a map of your soul's journey, your strengths, your challenges, and your karmic lessons. If you are the curse breaker, I bet your chart carries this signature of the mission, which we talked about. It's the placements like Chiron, the wounded healer. It's also your Saturn, the teacher of karmic lessons, that often highlights the work you are meant to do. And so I happen to have Saturn and Chiron in the second house, which is the house of self-worth and how you handle your money. So that's what I'm here to teach during this lifetime because I've healed that. So, for example, your South Node shows the patterns your soul has mastered, but also the baggage you're here to release. Your North Node, that's your compass forward. And let's not forget Pluto, the planet of transformation. Its placements reveal where you hold the power to alchemize pain into wisdom and darkness into light. So everything that is happening right now astrologically is to push us into this new age. And when I talk about this stuff, I get so excited because, like I said, I had an interior design business for 2 decades, and none of this was on my radar, and to find something so intense that really explains everything that we're going through on a microcosm, right? Because everything that's happening around us is in the macrocosm. But to really understand that we have so much power and that everything is connected, it just like was like mind blowing. Like, how did I not know this stuff? And I know that the generations before me did not know what I'm talking about. My mom had no idea, although my mother was very spiritual in the sense of metaphysics. Like, she used to read tarot and she always had premonitions and she always talked about future things that we're talking about right now. So she did have psychic abilities, but she was not aware of her power because she gave it away all of the time. Okay, so astrology doesn't predict your life. Okay. And I want you to be aware of that because I don't use astrology for that reason. So if you came to this channel expecting that I was going to give you predictions, then this is probably not the right place for you, because I only talk about astrology as a self-development, self-discovery tool and how to empower yourself. And if that's what you do enjoy, please hit the subscribe button and, do all the things, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment and let me know that you're new here and this is right up your alley. Okay. And, but it does empower you to co-create with the universe. And that's what I am so excited about teaching. So when you align your actions with your cosmic blueprint, you step fully into your role as a conscious curse breaker. Okay. So these are all the pieces, you know, and I believe since we all have Chiron in our chart, I think we all are here to be curse breakers because there are things that get passed down to us. And if you're not aware of that and you're just chasing success, going back to my business, if you're chasing success, you will feel unfulfilled because there's a bigger purpose on your life other than climbing the ladder and obtaining more money. Okay. So let's talk about some of the practical tools for your journey. Because now you understand why and how. Now let's just talk about the tools. Here are 3 practices that you can start to activate your power as a lineage breaker. So one of the things is ancestral journaling. Write letters to your ancestors. Thank them for their strength, forgive them for their pain, and let them know you are doing this work to honor them. Your words carry energy that transcends times because we are consciousness and we always are communicating with our loved ones. And that's one of the things is when I tell the story of my mother, she is no longer here, but through my journaling process, I do automatic writing. And I asked her permission to share her story, and she gave me her blessings to share her story. So when I speak about things that I experienced growing up, or speak about, something that my mom experienced, know that it's not coming from ill intent. It is just to share awareness of how things perpetuate through your family lineage. Another thing is number 2 is energetic clearing. So use rituals like smudging, salt baths, or sound healing to cleanse your energy and release what is not yours to carry. Remember, you return the pain to the source with love. Okay. So I always talk about this. Like, when we have this burden that we're holding on to and we're unaware of this burden, right? we carry it everywhere. So I have this saying like, wherever you go, there you are, because you're carrying this invisible baggage. So you have to become self-aware so you can cleanse this energy so you don't keep repeating history. That was one of the things that my mom did, is we moved around a lot, and it was avoidance of pain. And so she felt like if she moved somewhere new, she could start reinventing herself and be somebody new. But she didn't do the inner healing. So she just perpetuated the same belief system. So you can't outrun yourself, is what I'm saying. And then number 3 is your astrological reflection. So spend time with your natal chart. Look at the placements we discussed and journal about how they show up in your family patterns. Awareness is the first step to transformation. So those are the things that I did. And journaling was a huge part of me reconnecting back to my spiritual team. And then I started learning how to do automatic writing. I was guided to do tarot, and with tarot helps you to speak to your spirit team. I also was guided to work with the moon's energy, because the moon's natural phases are connected to nature. So it's to connect us back to nature. That's why there's so much imbalance in the world. And, you know, the moon's energy is the feminine energy, and we need to step back into the creative aspect, co-creating and not living as the victim in our lives. And so this is part of the process. So I learned how to use the moon phases. That was another thing that my guides guided me towards doing. And then they also brought me through the steps of things that I needed, like the rules of the game and the challenges of the game and some spiritual tools. I put all of that in my book because I downloaded it, and then I wrote it because I knew that was here, something that I was here to share, and I wanted to put it in a format to help you. And inside my book, I do have worksheets, and to show you how you step in and how you mimic things if you didn't have that growing up. And so it's an empowerment tool that I wrote for you. So when I did receive the question of how I did it, first of all, you're never finished, right? It's like, I'm still learning, I'm still evolving, but now I'm just operating from a place of being the main character in my movie and being more self-aware. And that is the beginning of it, right? The beginning is to become more self-aware and know that you are the one who is co-creating your reality. And you are working with consciousness, God, the universe, spirit, however you address this energy that's unexplainable to you. But know that it is in everything and it is in everyone. And so it's omnipresent. And if you detach yourself from it, and like, for instance, if you are solely focused on your success, you are solely focused on your money, you are solely focused on this external validation, you will feel like you are swimming uphill. You will feel drained. You will feel like, I know of so many people that have reached that pivotal moment that they wanted and still felt empty, because it is through your evolution, it is through your growth that you evolve. And so, as a curse breaker, it's not really a curse, okay? It is an evolution of self. And I love transformation. And when we talk about Pluto, which is the planet of transformation, moving into Aquarius, I love the fact that Pluto is stationed in Aquarius, because the evolution that we're going to experience is going to be so magical. And it's just by you stepping into your awareness and willing to transform that you begin to experience a shift in your reality. And this shift will happen in the people that you love, that you have an energetic bond with. It is a ripple effect, like I've said. So, you've been gifted with the strength and courage to do this, okay? Because if you, because you are capable of unimaginable transformation. So that's where, breaking curses isn't just about ending cycles. It's about reclaiming your power, honoring your ancestors, and creating a brighter path for future generations. You are magic. You are powerful. You are the one your family has been waiting for. And so that's the beauty of it, right? It's taking your courage back. And don't let this curse keep you in the victim mentality. Because I know there are people saying, I have a curse on me. I have to heal, this curse. And then they stay in the victim mentality of it and they never do anything. So I hope this answers your question if you're wondering how you move into becoming that curse breaker, what it means, how astrology and metaphysics and quantum physics, apply to all of this, and how you can start embracing change and transformation. And that is all I have for you today.
Dancing with the universe, breaking every ancient curse. In her realm she reigns supreme, living out her boundless dream.